Welcome back for episode 4. Don't need a whole lot of intro for this one. If you're already at this point, you've watched the first 3 episodes, you know what we're working on today. It's the neck. We're going to clean up the sides of the fretboard to level and crown our frets, police up any weird stuff that may be happening with the fret ends. We're going to inspect the nut. We're going to ensure that the truss rod is 100% functional. And then we're going to throw it all back together, give it a play demonstration. So no reason to delay. Let's get going. So here we go. The Aria Pro 2 RS Stray Cat, fully assembled. Normally, I would not have it be fully assembled at this stage. I would do the neck work before I put everything back together. There were a bunch of reasons why that was not a good idea for this particular build. If you want to understand those, go back and watch episode 3. First thing that we got to do, loosen up our strings. Quick tip, this right here, really useful thing. All it is Velcro, same kind of stuff that you would use on your pedal board, but I've got fabric on the back, on the adhesive. And what you do is you just slide the Velcro underneath the strings, put the other on top of it, slide it up as far as you can past the nut, and you never have to worry about your strings getting all tangled when you take them off. Now that the strings are completely off of the guitar, we can go ahead and remove the neck. This particular neck has a vintage Fender style truss rod, which means it's located on the end. And this is really where we're gonna start to conduct our business. The first order, make sure the truss rod functions. If it doesn't, I guess that's it. Most modern guitars, you're gonna see that there's a truss rod adjuster that sits up here at the top of the neck, so you don't have to take the neck off to be able to get to the truss rod adjustment. Some Warmoth necks will have truss rod adjusters here on the side. This is perfectly okay. This is fine. This will do the trick. But yeah, we're going to grab our straight edge that is longer than the fretboard. You know, a metal yardstick is perfect for that. We're going to get this perfectly flat. The thing that we're going to look for, right, is we're going to take this straight edge and we're going to place it on the neck, right? So the straight edge rides the frets. And then we're going to come down here and we are going to look and see if there's any gap between the frets and the ruler. We can see right there definitely is. That means in this case there's not enough relief being in the neck. We're going to tighten up that truss rod to try to bend the guitar neck back until every fret is making contact with the straight edge of that ruler all the way up and down the neck. We're just going to go about a quarter turn. I'm going to check it again. That's much better. We're still not quite there. One of the ways that you can check this is by using your feeler gauges. Slide this between, see? And I can already tell I'm going to have some uneven frets in here. Yep, frets 2 through 5 are a little bit problematic. Let's see if a little bit more tension helps us with that. About 1/8 of a turn this time. Small increments are your friend. Good, good. Still no good. Yeah, see, that was not helpful. Notice how this slides underneath pretty much all the way down? That means it's too much relief. So I had it pretty close to being right back here, and the issue is that I've just got some frets that are more worn than others. But we're going to take care of that. Tiny increments. Yep. That's where I want to be. So at this point, that's actually really good news. What we know for sure is that our truss rod is functional. We were just able to adjust the relief of the neck. And we've gotten ourselves as close as we can be to perfectly flat. I guess at this point you could use a fret rocker. It's all going to get leveled out anyway, so I'm not even going to mess with that. But before we get to sanding, it's probably a good idea to take a look at these frets. 1 through 5 are where most people play most of the time. Cowboy chords, all that other good stuff. And that's where you're going to have the most significant fret wear. These are pretty worn down, and you've got some nice little dents in here. You know, the kind of thing you can feel with a fingernail. It's not too bad. Probably get away with not doing much with this. But that's what we're going to try to sand out. And the process of leveling, where we're going to take this block and we're going to effectively sand the frets down, is going to make sure that we've got a nice flat, even surface across all of these frets. Before we get into that though, we got to support this neck, because when I push down with the sanding block, it can cause the neck to bow, and we don't really want that, because that defeats the purpose of having straightened out the truss rod in the first place. So support the neck. Let's just do that. Nothing too significant, nothing too drastic. Even pressure all the way up and down. We're gonna level these down until we don't see those dents in the fret surface anymore. We can really start to see with the buildup of the filings, like where we have higher frets and where we have low. Still got pretty significant dent right there. Sometimes if your fret wear is really bad, like on this particular fret right here, where you got a really significant dent underneath the B string, that's when you might have to start thinking about doing a refret. You can take this down too much and effectively make your frets unusable, wear them down to nubs. There's enough life left in these that we can go down a little bit more, but I'm really not going to push it too much farther. I think that's about as far as I'm willing to go. When you flip over, you got a finer grit. And a little bit smoother. Okay, and there you go. Sand it all the way down. Now you do not want this stuff on your tabletop, because these little filings head right for your pickups, and it's a nightmare to clean it out. So, little paintbrush off to the side, dust off. Now you can see the fret that I was talking about. Let's see if I can catch this in the light. Right in here, we still have a little bit of an issue, but aside from that, most of these are okay. The next step here is going to be to crown these frets, and I'm going to see if I can show you a drawing of what I'm talking about. Now this first image that we're looking at here, this represents what your fret looks like when it comes from the factory. Nice and round, directly flush to the fretboard, right? Nice and clean. Over time, we get dents and dings, scrapes and scratches in here, and this material starts to wear away. What we just finished doing was leveling the frets. So all of the frets now have this flat surface, and that flat surface is a problem. You know, if you're making contact here, then you're actually adjusting the intonation of that note by however wide that fret is. You want a nice round profile. So this is the leveling stage. Next thing we're going to do is come through with a specialized file that takes this shape and makes it round again. This is the crowning stage. And this is a crowning file. Each side, right, has a channel cut into it, right through here, right through here, and each of these channels is gauged to work with specific sizes of frets. I would qualify these as being medium large, 6105 ballpark. So all of the crowning that we're going to do is going to be using the medium and large size of this crowning file. Now the process we're going to engage in here, right, is we are going to use a Sharpie to color in the tops of all of these flattened leveled frets. Then what we're going to do is we're going to select the appropriate size of our fret file. Give it a nice little scrub real quick. And we are going to run this over the top of the frets, and it's going to remove materials from the sides of the frets and give us a nice round shape. What we're looking for at the end is just a tiny little strip of black that tells us that everything's been rounded back in. All right, so now that all the frets have been leveled and crowned, do a quick little bit of maintenance. You may have noticed I was using this wire brush. Clean out the teeth on your file, put it away. Probably not going to be using it again. Normally, if I was just doing like a level crown polish scenario, I would move directly into trying to polish the tops of the frets, but this neck has some pretty significant wear and tear on the sides, and we've got some sanding that we want to do on the back. We got some weird staining and stuff like that too. First grit of sandpaper I'm planning on using here is going to be 320, and then I'm probably going to work it all the way up to about 600, maybe even some steel wool after that. See if we can clean this up. So generally this is the point also where I go ahead and I inspect the nut and make sure that there's no chips or cracks. This one's actually in really good shape. The next step in this process is just going to be to go ahead and polish these frets up a little bit. I'm going to use a guard like this one, little piece of tape off to the side to help it stay in place. Try to protect the fretboard as best I can. I'm going to hit it up with 400 grit sandpaper. I'm going to walk that up through steel wool, and then we're going to polish these up using a Dremel, get them shiny and new. Okay, so the last mountain to climb, and again, there's like final cleanup that has to happen with this stuff. I mean, you're seeing little dusts and nicks and scratches and stuff. Yeah, the last mountain to climb is rolling the fretboard, and we are going to do that basically using something like this. Really, like a socket driver, socket wrench, whatever it is that you want to do. Something substantial that you can just run along the sides of the edges, kind of not so much remove material, but kind of take that edge off the fretboard to give it a nice rolled feeling, increase the comfort in your hand. Silky smooth. The The last thing we got to do here is get in with the fret rocker and make sure that we didn't like create any high frets for ourselves through this process. It really doesn't take much to do that. You can do it with a credit card if you wanted to, razor blade, whatever. I'm going to use my little measuring tool. And all the process really involves is putting this on your frets and seeing if anything rocks back and forth. Nope. 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 Woo! No high frets. That's always a relief. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to tighten up these tuning machines, get these up to spec. Then we're going to oil this neck up, the fretboard, get it nice and clean. Then we're going to put it back on the guitar and we're going to move on to our setup.
The way it's written is that it needs to be with the crunch.
I am hearing a ton of dynamics in those pickups, dude.
Yeah, it's good.
What do you like about it?
Kill switch. Kill switch go tappy tap tap tap. The neck itself feels good. The oil that you put on it, not necessarily my flavor.
How's the action?
It's very low down here, but it's still kind of high up here.
Does it feel like it like a truss rod thing? Like I could put a little bit more tension in it and kind of straighten that neck out a little?
Yeah, maybe.
What about the body shape?
Comfortable.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting how it's like kind of offset, but you know, I can still have it set up here. And
again, like how does that compare to guitars that like you play that are modern?
oh, my Strandberg definitely still wins. For a fixer-upper, it's pretty good. I do enjoy this. Yeah, for a fixer-upper that was made in the 80s.
Do you remember what it used to look like?
It's like red.
You don't remember all like the hieroglyphics and everything that were carved onto the sides of it?
I kind of do. We should still carve some in.
Please don't. How's the fretwork feel?
Footwork's good. Hello, Ezra.
I couldn't be happier with how it turned out. We did it. We got it working again. I'm exceedingly proud of my kid. I'm also pretty proud of myself right now for bringing that guitar back from the dead. These guitars are absolutely fantastic. I hope you can find one. I hope you give restoring it a shot. I'm going to go ahead and close this thing up, but I want to express my gratitude. Thank you to everybody sincerely for tuning in. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for all of it. I got to get to bed, but remember, it's never too late to care again.